Hey, mommies, we updated our channel memberships.
For $5 a month, you get updated badges, new emojis,
No ads on YMH and Two Bears.
and you get early access to both YMH and Two Bears.
For just $10 a month, you get...
Early access and no ads on all shows.
And for $20 a month, you get all of both tiers.
And proof that you're not a fat poor. Click the join button on our YouTube homepage or right above the description of any one of our episodes. What are you waiting for? Join today.
This week on Dr. Drew After Dark.
Community college.
Junior college.
Junior college.
Junior
You
college.
said that pretty condescending, but I'll take it.
It's rare that I have a comedian in here that actually says something where they're ashamed.
Doctor, real quick, how do those big tits fly?
Because I'm just a little bitch, apparently, right?
Yes.
Welcome to Dr. Drew After Dark. Please be advised that Dr. Drew After Dark may contain sexually oriented content and be unsuitable for young children. Hey everybody, welcome to Dr. Drew After Dark. Of course, keep those voice messages coming. Though I don't know that we need them so much anymore because we have live calls, but I do like having a few voice messages at 818-253-1693. And of course, the emails, I've got scads of them, drdrafterdark@gmail.com. Of course, Booth Boys, ready to go. Gentlemen, how are you? Everything good?
Hey.
Yes.
Hey.
Gentlemen, I
Hey.
just realized I had not checked in with you in a long time. I want to make sure you guys are good and any of you haven't changed any practices, so to speak.
No.
Everything's
Thanks for
good.
checking in. though.
Yeah, just
you
checking
gotta
in,
check
make sure
bro.
nothing's sus out there.
Nothing's sus. Nothing sus. You're getting there, Drew. You're getting there.
It's two things I'm thinking. A, it's the funniest thing in the world when an uncool person uses sort of cool language. It's
Nailed
like
it.
ridiculous. In fact, this is sort of ridiculous also, but when I was in France, I was trying to use cool language and they sort of started laughing at me. Like, you sound
Like
like
what?
a teenager. It's like, I'm not a teenager officially, in case you hadn't noticed. Also,
Teach us some French slang. Mon ami.
oh, no. Like, connard. Or du coup all the time.
Is that
Oh,
like taking a
coup,
shit?
It's like so, it's like. Du coup is like. And so I'm like, okay, du coup. And they're like, they start laughing out loud.
What is connard?
Connard
mean?
is
'Cause that
asshole.
sounds-
Connard is
that
asshole.
sounds like
There we
something
go.
else.
That's
something we could
And
use.
I asked this one guy, I thought I was being funny. I go, quelle est la différence entre un canard, duck, et connard? And he goes, you're neither one nor the other. Ni l'un ni l'autre. We are getting into the weeds here. I wanted to say another thing. One more thing, which is that I do believe the rational revolution is underway. It's taking a lot longer than Christina and I expected. But I have noticed that people are able to say rational things without being canceled. And people are able to enter into rational discourse that may be uncomfortable without being canceled. And people can start to say things again. And it's just an uncanny thing to me that we have been through a period when you couldn't talk. You couldn't just say, thank God for your mom's house, because we've always been just kind of talking here. So good. So thank you, Booth Boys, for being a part of that.
Oh, thank you,
And,
Drew.
think of the miles we have covered, gentlemen. Today, the guest is Jeremiah Watkins, new YouTube specialist, Daddy. No better place for a mommy than for a daddy. Podcast are Scissors Bros, Jeremiah Wonders. No. Yes,
Oh,
Scissors.
that's our symbol,
Scissors Bros.
Scissors.
All right, Scissors Bro. Okay. I thought you were saying stop.
Drew,
Scissors Bros.
this
Sorry.
intro's too good. Stop.
It's good. Scissors Bros. And you have a regular live show. It's also up on YouTube, Stand Up on the Spot. Tell us about that.
Yeah, every second Tuesday of the month at the Comedy Store, I host a show. Comedians go up with no prepared material, ask the audience for suggestions.
Oh, it's just called the Adam Carolla Show, because that seems to be his way of doing it. Although even he, well, finish your thought. I'll tell you about that in a second.
Oh, I hopped on Corolla and he goes, "How long have you been doing your show?"
That's a great impression.
And I was like, 2010. He goes, "Oh, yours first. Okay, all right." He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I'll do your show." Yeah.
Were you a guest on his show or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was like, "You got to do my show." He's like, "Yeah." Kind of feeling me out. Yeah.
Quid pro quo. Yeah, he for years oh my gosh, this is a separate story I didn't expect to tell, but he was always hammering me about being a little bit prepared. And I was like, dude, I practice medicine all day. That's my preparation.
Right.
And he was like, have something to say. And I was sort of offended that because I was really resistant to the fact that I was on radio or was doing public events with him. It felt weird to me.
Yeah, to have some pre-planned stuff.
It just felt weird. And he would do everything pretty much right off top of his head. Then I realized, he has a card he wrote some stuff down on. Maybe I ought to do that too.
A little bit of prep work?
Just some ideas is all he was trying to get me to do. And so this is a story about what an asshole I am, right? Because I resisted just a reasonable thing. But part of the resistance came from, for years and years, again, because I was always so resistant to everything, just even the fact that I was on the radio. He would always go he was always hammering me about improv techniques, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever say no to me. I'm like, well, sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you're saying something dangerous. I have to say no. No, say not only that, Adam, but.
Yeah.
And so,
keep it moving forward so it doesn't just shut down the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so.
I have some other theories on that, actually.
Tell us.
Yeah.
What are they? Fuck. See what an asshole I am? You see? Do you see?
Listen up, you
see what an
canards.
asshole
This
I am?
show's off the rails already.
Conards. Shit. All right, we're going to be taking calls today, too. We're going to watch videos. And Nadav even has a question. So let's check that out. Whoa, this is interesting. Yeah.
So, Drew, I've been kind of dealing with some gambling stuff recently. And they've been saying that it's an addiction, but, I'm not super convinced. Because you're an addiction, expert.
Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with people that were just addicted to gambling?
Well, what do you mean the answer is yes, but I want to know more about what you mean by just addicted to gambling.
Sometimes it goes hand in hand with other addictions. But,
yes, it does.
Right.
Typically it does.
Right. What other things is it usually paired with?
Alcohol and weed, stuff you're doing sort of, while you're gambling typically, in fact, or things you're trying to stop doing. And then the gambling kind of steps up a little bit. My favorite gambling addiction story was my buddy Bob Forrest, the guy with the hat and the glasses. He's told this story publicly, so I know he doesn't mind me telling it. He, was severe heroin addict in his day. I mean, really, I thought he had died, actually. And then I found him 10 years later. I couldn't believe, I thought I was talking to a ghost. There's Bob. I stole him from another program, and I helped train him. And he's really an excellent clinician now. And we noticed he would disappear on Friday afternoons. He just wasn't around. And after a few months of that, he's like, no, I'm so stressed out. I have to go to the races. It's just, I get the air, the horses.
I understand that.
I just got to go. And turned out he developed quite a problem. And he had and this is a guy with years of sobriety, a real serious credentialed professional. Just it was blinded what was happening to himself, right? So part of this thing is denial and minimization, right? So you don't necessarily see what's happening to you. If other people are telling you that there seems to be a problem, take it seriously.
But what do they know?
Ooh, sounds like
they know they don't have the condition, so they're not in denial about it. That's what they know. They know they're your friend and just concerned and just trying to sort of be helpful. It's so many of these things, right? This is the challenging part, right? So many of these conditions, whether it's gambling, weed, sex, alcohol, they have spectrums to them. They go from mild to severe to life-threatening, right? And if you're in that sort of mild to moderate zone, you feel like you're in control of it. And you sort of are. If you haven't yet thrown the switch with something else like heroin or really serious. So the real conundrum in addiction is not getting to the point where the switch gets thrown and you can't stop, right? So you're in this stage right now where you're feeling in control. You kind of have it under control. I would just really sort of add up the consequences of whatever it is you're doing. Mm-hmm. And if the consequences are real, and be honest with yourself, you might just want to do something about that, which is just cut back while you still can before you do lose control, right? Mm-hmm. But then you can sort of try to moderate it if you want. Though if you've thrown a switch on something else, you can't moderate. And if you have a bad genetic burden, it's tough to moderate. So it's an interesting, that middle zone that a lot of people are in. I really hate to the sort of one size fits all kind of approach. You got to get treatment. You got to go to GA. And by the way, Gamblers Anonymous is a wonderful program. It helps a lot of people. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to take over this show for a second if you don't mind.
That's okay. Hey, I'm all about the booth boys. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into it.
But there's an interesting part here we've never talked about, which is there's different kinds of gambling addiction.
Right.
Have I talked to you about this before?
No, but I'm familiar with the different kinds.
Okay, so there was a guy, I'm blanking on his name right now, starting with a B. He ran a lab at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where he actually had a casino, and he'd wire people up and send them in. And people with the various addictions, he would study them in a casino setting with all their bodily sort of parameters wired up. And he found several different kinds of gamblers. One was dissociative gambling, which was usually slot machines where people would go in there for hours and hours and dissociate so badly they would sometimes wear diapers.
Yeah.
Because they would like shit themselves or pee themselves. They'd just be out of mind.
Yeah, that sounds right.
There is winning gamblers that they get addicted to winning.
Yeah.
Those are not that common. They're not as common as you would think.
Oh, they're addicted to losing.
They're addicted to deading and losing. Yeah, they don't feel alive unless they have their back against the wall. And then there's sort of a sociopathic zone, which is they just like yanking on the system, like beating the system, and that's more of a winning variety. But that person usually has other stuff going on in their life. They manipulate people and other things like that.
Right.
And so you have to kind of recognize what kind of gambler you are. Are you a debtor or a winner? That's sort of the question.
Right. Well, I'd like to think that I'm a winner.
Okay.
fucking winners.
And,
we're
and a
winners.
friend of
Yes, we're
mine,
winners.
a guy I know, was a casino manager, and he said he would watch these guys come in, the big whales and stuff, and he'd keep giving them freebies. He said until they won $1 million, and at the moment they won $1 million, he said, now I know they will lose everything within a year. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that checks out.
It checks out. So be
So I'll tell you
careful.
what comes right after a big win. Going right back to even. Or worse.
Oh, well, the worst part, because it's always, now you start getting aggressive with the gambling. That's
Well,
worse.
yeah, because you got to keep on doubling up every
That's
time you
right,
lose. And
that's
you gotta,
right.
yeah,
I mean, if you get a big win, you put it all on black, right?
You have to.
You got to make it double the win.
Yeah, I mean, it's 50-50, man, or nearly 50-50.
sometimes a little better, sometimes a little worse.
And I'll just do it again if I lose on that one. I'll double up again.
Yeah, if you put it on red, that's sus, Dr. Drew.
That is sus.
That's sus.
That is sus. Not as sus as green, one of the greens, but it's sus. But,
Oh, there we go.
So-
some roulette. Oh, Drew plays some roulette?
no, I do not. Doesn't matter. I
Well, you
can't.
should. If you
I
wanna come
cannot
to Vegas,
stand
we're
gambling.
going
I am
to.
the opposite. I look at it as adult entertainment, and I like playing craps. And I have once I lose $90, which is inevitable. I try to make that happen as slowly as possible. Like if I can get 2 or 3 hours of entertainment out of it, I feel like, well, that's $90 well spent. But without exception,
90.
even if I get 5 hours of entertainment out of it, I'm furious with myself.
5 hours of $90?
$90
We used to
for
be able to
5
when they were
hours.
$5 tables. You could
That's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
I set like a $90, $100 limit, and then when it's gone, it's gone.
And then when it's
Must be
gone,
nice.
how do you feel that once you've lost it?
I feel okay because I went in knowing that I'll probably lose.
I knew it too, and I still feel like shit. I feel like an asshole. Like
Well, you guys sound like the losing side of the gamblers.
no, we're
How do you not wanna get
the
back?
pussy side of the game. That's just the full.
Yeah, I mean, same.
Well,
yeah.
don't put words in my mouth.
Well, I am anyway. I told you. I told you what I am. I'm. So
Okay,
let's
sorry,
talk more.
quick
Let's talk-
question though.
Yeah.
Quick question though.
Yeah.
What if his friends don't think he has a problem, and it's really just a matter of getting back what he's lost?
So I don't know that there is such a thing as getting back what you've lost. Number one,
Have you
There
seen
is.
the movie John Wick?
I understand. But number two, those may be either codependents or co-addicts with him, right? If you gamble with a bunch of co-gambling addicts, then I'm not sure that's in your best interest necessarily. But I'm just saying. Jeremiah, where did you grow up?
Kansas City.
What part of Kansas City?
On the Kansas side.
The Kansas side.
Bunch of canards out there.
Near the plaza.
Yeah.
So, and did you go to school out there and stuff, or
I did. Yeah, I did attend school. We had some schools there.
no? I mean like school after college or
Okay, I got an associate's degree of the arts. Community college.
junior college.
Junior college.
Junior
You
college.
said that pretty condescending, but I'll take it.
You
We'll
set
take
me
it.
up for it. And then how did comedy happen?
Comedy happened from not. I mean, I wanted to do it from a young age, but it also was not being good at other things that along the way. Getting cut from the basketball team, stuff like that. That helps you build character. Like being told no to different things.
So as doors shut, the one door stayed open.
Yeah, the light starts to get brighter at
That's
that
good.
door. Yeah,
You've been
yeah.
happy doing it?
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
We didn't finish the stand-up on the spot. Tell us more about that. When is it? Where can people see it?
Oh yeah, every second Tuesday of the month at the Comedy Store. It's a YouTube series that you can check out. YouTube.com/@standupots, or just type in stand up on the spot. And we post videos there all the time.
Good for you.
Everybody does like shorter sets, like kind of showcase style. It's fun.
And you know, by wearing a daddy shirt, it's particularly ironic in this studio. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And tell us about Daddy.
Daddy's my new 1 hour special that you can type in on YouTube after this. And if you watch the special after watching this, maybe type in something about canards or something like that, so I know that you came from Dr. Drew.
So your name comes up after Canard.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
see also Jeremiah Watkins. So
If you like this, then you'll love this.
And
Yeah.
are you a daddy?
I am, yeah. And number 2 is on the way in June.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you guys live in Los Angeles area.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
So, and California's such a shit show. Are you doing okay there?
I like it all right. I think people are talking pretty bad about it lately, but I'm like, I still like it.
Is your wife from that area, or is she?
She's from the Bay Area.
So it is better down in Southern California.
Yeah.
You can go up in California from northern to southern. Actually,
Yeah.
gets better.
Yeah.
So, well, we're going to do a bunch of things today. We got a lot of calls we're going to get to. I'm going to try to get as many as possible. We've got some videos to watch. I've got a bunch of, let me get a quick email just quickly because it's pertinent for Tom and Christina. They've been doing a lot of, you'll be shocked to know, a lot of brown talk, a lot of fart talk. Recently had a revelation about my farts. Whenever I have a silent fart, it smells terrible, rancid, but whenever my asshole blows a loud kiss, it never smells. I mean, never. Silent equals smelly, loud equals not smelly. Why is this? Thoughts?
I'm in the same boat. Like sometimes I'll fart real loud and somebody will shoot me a look. I'm like, I'm sorry, it doesn't smell. The loud ones don't. Like I brush it off immediately.
Except when it does. Sometimes it will pull a little
Yeah.
bait and switch on you, and
Yeah.
a big loud one will be horrible. And then what do you? Then you're like, now you literally have shit on your face. You're like, what the hell do I do now? Like I destroyed everybody. I called
shit
it
on
out.
your face.
Like it announced itself.
Yeah.
And that's that. So the bottom line is the things that cause air. Okay, here's the deal. So methane is the smelly part.
I love that I'm so excited we're breaking this down. Yeah.
So the methane gas, which is nitrogenous, the bacteria break down the gases, and if you have certain bacteria in your gut or you feed it certain things, it produces a bunch of methane. Methane, not usually in large volumes. And in fact, if you have a lot of air, it kind of dilutes it a little bit, right?
Right.
You can sort of, hopefully put it in a larger volume, therefore it's less concentrated. But not necessarily so. And the air part, there's debate about where that comes from. Some people say it comes from swallowing air. So we swallow a certain amount of air. Some of it is from the bacteria that's just producing gas. And everybody's different this way. This is what's challenging, is that everyone has their own sort of fart math.
Sure.
That they're either never smelly or always loud or I'm all over the place. Certainly my situation is whatever I feed it. I'm going to get Susan in here to do a full disquisition on this. But it's what is fed is the issue.
Now, does cheek size have anything to do with the proportion of smell to the fart?
It certainly creates a further distance to the outside world, right? So it might dissipate a little bit in there, maybe
Right.
get held in long enough to kind of dissipate. And of course, it has that lovely sound.
Right. So the more rumbles, maybe the more of the filtration system that might be occurring?
Maybe. I like that. I like that. It's another advantage to being a little bit overweight. All right.
You heard it here.
Let's go to Nick from Montana. Nick?
Glad I get a chance to talk to you.
You
I've
as
been
well.
listening to you since the days of Bloodline. I'm calling about ocular migraines. I know you've talked to the great Andrew Santino about them before. Just saying how I could potentially prevent them. Whenever I get them, I lose the ability to understand reality. I know that sounds bizarre.
Well, no, it's like
but
literally, look, it's like getting hit over the head. Your brain isn't working right. The blood supply to the brain is changing. And the ocular migraine is just a manifestation of that part of the brain, the occiput. The blood flow changes there. And so literally, it can either be sparkly things, you can lose half your vision, you really can't see half the world. What's your manifestation?
You nailed it exactly on the head. It's literally my right eye every time. I can't see anything. And I lose the ability to read. It is one of the most bizarre things I've ever experienced in my life.
And do you have headache following or no headache?
Yes.
Headache.
A headache following a major headache.
Okay.
And it's I know you've talked about thunderclap headaches in the past, and
Different.
my big concern is what if it ends up being an aneurysm or something, or stroke or something like that? So just trying to
Jeremiah, got
get
any
a
medical
handle on it.
information for him?
I think it's a stroke every time.
Yeah, good advice. And so, it's with this kind of migraine. These are really classic migraines to the extent that they, you want to make first of all, you want to make sure they are migraines, right? Just the way you're saying. So you need a neurological workup, you need an MRI, an MRA, make sure there is not aneurysm, that kind of thing. I'm sure there's not. And the great news is there's all these really effective, sort of prophylactic agents for migraine now. There's so much stuff out there. Take advantage of it. Some of it might be a little expensive if you don't have insurance, but there's just a lot of options now that we just didn't have before. And it is sort of important because with the kind of migraine you have, you as you see, the fact that you get confused and whatnot is your brain getting injured. It's like getting hit in the head, and you don't want too many of those injuries, right? It can lead to trouble years down the line. So you want to make an effort to control the migraines, if indeed these are those classical migraines I'm talking about. All right.
Yeah, no, it gives me something to think about too. So no, I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you really got to really take it very seriously. I mean, it's not life threatening at all. Again, I'm assuming they're migraines. You got to nail that down, but they are. They're this kind of migraine, the fact that his visual fields aren't working is the restriction of blood. Blood is not going there. And then you do that enough times and shit can get injured.
Yeah, and it cause some damage.
Yes. You have migraines or anything? You have any medical problems?
Not currently.
Not presently?
Yeah.
Have you had medical problems that we should be interested in?
Well, I had, in 2015, I had melanoma. Yeah. I had skin cancer that was like stage 2, where it had to get like
big
10 inches out of my back. Big cut. Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Yeah. That's the most like life threatening as far as that stuff goes. 2015.
So you're free and clear. You're good.
Yeah. I go once a year now for my checkups.
Melanoma is one of the cancers that scares me because it just comes out of nowhere. If you miss it for 5 seconds, it's like gone. It's like, geez.
It was a spot that came out of nowhere. Yeah.
And you can't see it on your back either. Did somebody pick it up?
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's talk more happy things. Colin, what's going on, Colin?
Oh my goodness, Dr. Drew, how do those big tits fart?
How do those big tits fart? Those aren't mine. Those are Christina's. Hey, mommy.
All right.
I love asking a doctor that question.
No, I know.
Doctor, real quick, how do those big tits fart?
And usually people get up. I have to explain the whole Hitler thing to everybody. Hey, Hitler, do you know what that's going on here? Your mom? No. So there was a psychotic girl talking on a video blog, and she thought she was talking to Hitler, and she would begin every video blog with, "Hi, Hitler," and so that has become a greeting here. So it's good times, right? What's up, Colin?
I thought I would try and go, not with the standard greeting.
I know.
Sorry,
I understand.
Confusion.
It's a variation of the theme. You're like a jazz musician when it comes to your mom's house greetings. It's good.
Yeah, definitely. I just have a question about my change in libido and whether it's related just to, I had a single testosterone test recently, but I also had a change from work from home. And so just a little bit for background, I grew up Jehovah's Witness, sexually repressed, really got into porn, and luckily that never really interfered with my sexual function too much. But over the past year, I started working from home, and I had a fiance, everything was going well, but I definitely noticed a change in my libido. And so I got a testosterone test, it was like 298, which I'm 33, always had decent muscle mass.
That's lowish, yeah.
Overweight, but not crazy.
How much you weigh?
I am 220.
All right. How tall are you?
5'10".
Okay, so that's not. It's just like that. That wouldn't typically explain the low testosterone. So did anybody do any kind of workup for you? Like, did they check free testosterone? Did they check your, other endocrine function?
No, and I even had to kind of beg them just to do the testosterone test. I had to really tell them, like, the libido is not the same as it was. It's still not. It's not bad, but I used to be, I wouldn't say hypersexual, but very sexual. And now it's kind of just gotten down to.
All right, so let's talk about the sort of the J shape of testosterone, and testosterone will drop if you're not having enough sex and sexual activity. Okay, yeah. It goes down. Wait a minute, it's a inverted J.
Can I give my medical opinion?
Yes, always, of course.
It sounds like you're suffering from being a little bitch.
It's funny, that's what the Boot Boys were thinking. Jeremiah's actually he embarrassed himself. Jeremiah's actually embarrassed. Colin, I want to congratulate you. It's rare that I have a comedian in here that actually says something where they're ashamed. And this, I think you've gotten him there. So well done, Jeremiah. Well done, Colin.
I'm so sorry. That's not me. I just,
It's so good. All right, so Colin, we'll get to this. It's a spoonful of sugar, my friend. It's why we're able to talk about these things. He's like, please, yes, let's make this okay. So, okay, let that be a meme at your mom's house.
Please.
So our testosterone levels go up with sexual activity. Unless we have too much sexual activity, then it starts to fall off the other side, right? So there's sort of a sweet spot. Are you overdoing it with the porn again, or no?
I think the work from home has definitely increased it, right? So in the past, if I was really anxious, I couldn't, just not jerk one off in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah.
I had to wait till I get home. But I still was probably, in the past before work from home was maybe 2-3 times a day, and now it's maybe a little bit more, but not much.
Yeah,
more.
you're going to want to back off.
The same, but the cadence is different.
A little bit of cold jerky, I think, would help him out here a little bit. Jeremiah appreciates my humor.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So yeah, you got to back off.
You got to save that sperm, dude. We know that you're not producing much, so you got to chill out on baiting, dude.
Yeah. Oh, nice. But also, my friend, there are several ways to sort of naturally raise testosterone levels, and men's testosterone fluctuate quite a bit. Obviously, weight, you've said, so adipose tissue produces estrogen, and that can add to lower testosterone. So you want to focus on getting lean. Maybe your body's very sensitive to that. Number 2, any other medical problem can lower testosterone. So I'm sure you're not, I don't know if you're on medicine or hypertensive or anything else. You on any medication?
Yeah, nothing else.
Nothing. So you got to, is just for everybody else, pay attention to that. Number 3, exercise, particularly resistance training, weight training has a marked effect on testosterone. So you could certainly, as opposed to jacking off, maybe go to the gym. I think that's sort of a nice substitution that brings you in the right direction. And then diet. I'm a big protein fan. I'm a big, grass-fed beef fan. I think limiting carbohydrates is a really important thing. It will help with again, lean body mass and whatnot. So those are my thoughts, and there are probably a ton of other. I would stay away from, some of your age should not need supplements. It just shouldn't. And so all that stuff you see on TV, or I don't see it. I mean, you could take, there's one supplement that does help a little bit, but I'd want you to talk to your doctor about it, and that's DHEA, dihydroepiandrosterone.
Okay.
Yeah. DHEA 50 milligrams or 100 milligrams it's a precursor of testosterone. It will kind of boost things up a little bit. So, Jeremiah, we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he still a bitch?
I told my tech about a month ago, because I used to weightlift a lot. And so, but I was just still able to do other things. Back in May of 2022. But I'd say it wasn't immediately after that, but that's when all this kind of libido thing changed.
Well, there you go.
Have you heard of David Goggins?
Yeah.
I have heard of David Goggins.
Where are you going with this?
I'm just saying, he might want to listen to a little bit of David Goggins.
Okay.
I mean, because I'm just a little bitch, apparently, right?
Yes.
All right, buddy. Keep it going. You're doing good. Don't worry, but I'm glad you had it worked up. That's important. And you still might want to... Other endocrine disorders can be associated with this, something called Kalman syndrome, if you also lose your sense of smell. But I am very disturbed by all these young men getting on testosterone replacement without a diagnosis. Low testosterone is not a diagnosis. It is a symptom, much like fever. It's just a finding. The question is, why is that testosterone low? In his case, it sounds like there's a lot of stuff going on. So you could at least try some natural stuff first. If you have an upcoming summer trip abroad, my travel hack is Babbel. Whether you're a seasoned traveler or embarking on your first adventure, communication is key to fully experiencing a new culture. That is where Babbel comes in. And I think you actually have a responsibility to have some passing understanding of a language in a country you're visiting. Babbel, of course, is the language learning app that sold more than 10 million subscriptions. I got my wife onto this, and they got her pronunciation up as well as her language. And thanks to Babbel's addictively fun and easy bite-sized language lessons, there's Still time to learn a new language before you reach your destination. And with Babbel, you only need 10 minutes to complete a lesson, so you can start having real-life conversation in as little as 3 weeks. So many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Start your new language learning journey today with Babbel, and right now get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/Drew. That is babbel.com/Drew, BABBEL.com/Drew, for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life.
Can I ask you a question?
Nope, you're a little bit.
Okay.
Nobody that calls anybody a little bitch is asking me questions. But no, go ahead.
Okay, this is a question that I used to listen to you back on Loveline back in the day.
Yeah.
But I was too afraid to call in and ask this question.
This is going to be good.
Yeah.
I actually see fear in your eyes.
Okay, so when I would...
Am I a little bitch?
Tell me, Drew, am I? When I was in high school, I had a lot of guilt associated with masturbation.
Yes,
because I had a
very common.
Yeah, religious upbringing.
Yeah.
So
were they specific in their admonitions about masturbation? Like, don't touch yourself.
it was essentially like it was lumped in like you're gonna burn if you.
But they would be explicit, like masturbation.
You're going to hell.
With masturbation.
I think so, or at least that's what I concluded from it.
Conclude. Did they teach you sex is bad or premarital sex is
Yeah,
bad?
premarital sex, no go.
Okay, so
you're going to
anything-
hell if you have sex before
so
marriage.
naturally you'd consider any sexual activity before marriage like, this is going to be dangerous.
like very trepidatious going into it.
And this is Catholic upbringing?
Protestant Christian.
So a Christian sect kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
Christian fundamentalist sort of.
Right.
Ish. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I would do this thing because I had guilt associated with it, where I would have my jeans on, and I'd like watch videos on my computer, but I'd rub.
You wouldn't touch yourself.
I wouldn't touch it. I'd just start to rub it.
Yeah.
But because I rubbed it so much, when I would go to masturbate later, because it would get too crazy,
Yeah.
I would cum blood and cum at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was like the load would feel good, but then immediately I go, and then like blood would come out.
So as you see, you're fine.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't die.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, look at the both boys looking at each other. What was that? What was that look all about?
Rob.
So, hematospermia, that's called. Semen, blood in the semen is more common than you would imagine.
Okay.
It rarely means anything.
Yeah.
It usually is just irritation and
Right.
a blood vessel, and too much trauma, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Well, if you were older, you'd go, you might look. You'd start to worry about other things like bladder cancer and prostate cancer and things like. You start to look for things that happen to older men, and
Yeah.
then when you have bleeding of any kind, this is something that people don't understand, is that blood in your urine is actually much more serious than blood in your semen.
That's what I needed to hear.
You feel better now?
I'd feel way better.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And blood in the semen, that was how many years ago?
This was like 17 years ago. at this point.
So it's a nothing. And,
Yeah.
but I do recommend when people have it that they see a urologist just to be sure, because you never know. But the vast majority of time, I would say every time I've seen that in clinical practice, it's been nothing.
Okay.
Even though I do some workup and stuff like that. So you can generally, I'm not saying don't work it up. I'm saying you can generally not get anxious about it.
Have you ever worked yourself up through the jeans?
Well, who hasn't?
Rubbed it over and over through the jeans.
I don't know about over and over, but I don't think I've done, certainly not to bleeding.
Rob.
Not to bleeding. Not till I bled. Think about that. But it's one of my favorite things about religion and sex is, and it seemed, I thought it was something that was mostly in Catholicism, because that's where a lot of the hell stuff talks about. I'm surprised that in the Protestant sect that
this was a strict Christian
but
church.
still a lot of going to hell stuff. The Catholics have that sort of,
the fire and brimstone,
the going to hell, the devil, a lot about the devil, a lot of going to hell, a lot of traumatizing kids is what happens. And so as a result, because the sexual drive is so powerful, people of course find workarounds, right?
Oh yeah, the weird loopholes.
And that's what you're doing. And so, and you end up doing it anyway, but like the common one was, I'm still a virgin, but I have anal sex. Because I know I'll go to hell if I have sex, but they didn't say anything about the bomb.
Yeah, I used to masturbate in the sink so I could just wash it down in one thing.
Get out of there. Pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know. This,
Which is so sad. I have noticed, though, that you're somewhat of an anomaly in the sense that when I was younger, masturbation was a forbidden topic. You know, there was a sort of a general cultural sense that young people were non-sexual, didn't have sex.
Yeah.
And that's actually how we got into big trouble with the sexual revolution. You know, the sexual revolution was perpetrated by adults. They never ever did it occur to them that adolescents would then start having sex. And I was an adolescent at the time. That's what created Loveline, because no one was talking to young people about STDs. And at the time, in 1983, we had this very serious STD coming our way, and no one was talking to young people about it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we called that thing, we weren't calling it AIDS yet, but we ended up calling it AIDS. We were calling it grids at the time. Let's talk about some calloused feet, shall we? Let's see a little video here. Sprinkle a little palate cleanser.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the toughest feet right there I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you look at that callus. You know it's about that thick.
I know it is. I mean, good God.
This thing will do anything. See, look here. You can stick a cigarette to it.
That don't hurt?
Don't hurt.
Move that cigarette. Let me see you hit it, see if it's lit.
Shocking that, shocking that there's a sort of accent like that. It's very shocking to me.
My dad used to have that with his elbows.
Really callous. Why?
He would go like this. He would cup it, and then it would just stay.
Oh yeah.
He had like cement elbows.
Huh? Did he work into something where he was leaning on his elbows all the time?
He worked on cars and stuff like that.
There you go.
Yeah, so
he didn't have you can get psoriasis and stuff back here. Do you have anything like that, like a plaque there?
I mean, he might have. I mean, one time
my dad might have all kinds of
he
shit.
had all
he never
kinds
saw
of,
a doctor.
He like fell on it one time, and it had like a droop, like a weight.
Well, that's called olecranon bursitis.
Yeah,
the olecranon bursa fills with fluid, and so it looks like a baseball sitting on the
yeah,
end of it there.
Yeah, he had that.
That's good times.
Yeah.
So, I thought your dad's freaking you out with his medical problems. But I didn't know that people got hooves and that they needed to have their hoofs cleaned. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, is there anything bad that can happen from just having like the thickest fucking
Well, you know, it always
feet be looking thick.
I kind of wondered how people dealt before shoes, and this is probably how it happened. People would develop a thick callus there. The thing I worry about is fungus. You can get fungus that looks like callus, and it's actually a fungus down there. But this looks like callus. So give me another video, just one more. I love the videos so much.
P.S. That's what happens when you motherfuckers don't be washing your feet. Everybody's talking about how only you crazy if you wash your feet. That's what happens. That's
that doesn't what happen, but the fungus is what happens.
No, that's what happens.
The fungus can happen.
Whoa, that was a strong PSA.
Because if you're never wearing shoes and you're callousing from constant irritation of the feet from walking on, surfaces, ground without shoes on, you're going to get callous whether you wash your feet or not. But you are going to want to wash your feet. That's why the Bible made such a big deal about feet washing, if you notice that.
But wait, so you do wash your feet, though?
Me?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, we discovered that basically everybody in the studio except me and maybe Chad.
Well, when you say wash your feet, I mean, I don't wash my feet the way I wash my hands.
There we go.
But when I'm in the shower every day.
Yeah, that's what we mean, in the shower.
Yeah, you let the water run and hit you. That's what you're saying.
No, I will try to put soap on my feet.
Yeah.
I will try to do that because I know that that's a good idea. And he's right about that. I'm not perfect. Sorry, Eddie?
No, I was just saying get bodied to everybody else. You're correct, doctor.
Right, fair
Thank
enough.
you.
Everyone else is sus.
That's not where you use it, but you're on the way. You're on the way, man. You're on the way.
Getting close.
All right, let's take another call. Speaking of on the way, I've got Forrest from Tennessee. I said I wanted a video, but I'm going to take a call. Forrest, what's going on there?
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Hi, I was just calling about actually my wife, not me.
Okay, good.
She has or was diagnosed with PCOS at a young age.
Yeah.
I'm not certain when. And she has, when we were younger and more overweight, she would have cysts more often and they would burst. But we've recently gotten healthy and I haven't noticed them as much, but she recently had one. And I was wondering what we could do with those, and then also finding a doctor that's not just going to be like, here's a medicine, go away.
Well, I mean, you're doing the number one thing. You know, diet and exercise are really important for PCOS. Also, I always worry about insulin resistance for women with PCOS. That's the sort of bigger medical problem. The cysts of themselves are miserable, but they are not harmful.
And what is PCOS?
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Thank you.
And the biggest problem is that you don't get the kind of normal hormone cycling, and the estrogen levels sort of stay up, and that makes people kind of uncomfortable. So that's why oftentimes they'll just put someone on a birth control pill. That's sort of the typical sort of treatment for that, to sort of suppress the cysts and sort of create a little more cycling in your hormones. But I'm a big fan of diet and exercise when it comes to PCOS, and she's going to have cysts. I mean, that's how her system works. But you guys are doing the right stuff. I don't know if, you know, I mean, I would have her see a gynecologist, but I don't think there's much else really to be done, particularly if she doesn't want to take hormones, which I certainly understand that. Thank you for the call, my friend. Let's, cool blind guy. What is a cool, give me this cool blind guy.
Oh, you're going to love this guy.
I love cool guys. You know that.
Justin, I really like your videos, and I hope you continue to do them. And me being blind, please, I'd appreciate you doing them to where I can hear. And, you know, I'd like you to turn the recorder on when you go into the bathroom, and let me hear you undo your belt, pull your pants down, set the toilet seat down, and sit down and do a good stream of pee in the water and a good shit. And for me, since I can't see, if you could describe what it looks like in the toilet, just a fun thing. And you know, in other words, keep the recorder on from the beginning to the end when you flush the toilet. Okay, please get back with me and let me know. Okay, thanks.
I have so many mixed feelings about this guy.
This is the weirdest voicemail, like feeling like, okay, well, you know, that anticipation of like,
yeah.
will you hit me back?
Yeah, like, yeah, thank you. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
Just leave me that description of your shit in the toilet. So he's sort of a blind version of Norman, the piggy man, right? In a weird way. Is he give that flavor?
I think
to
there's
it?
different mechanisms involved here.
Well, on one hand, I'm fascinated and I want to support him. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, right. The visual and the auditory is really, I mean, the auditory and the descriptive is so important to you. Yeah. I want him to have that. I'm not sure this is what I want him to have.
Right,
a description
right.
of piss and shit, but
I mean, is he taking submissions from everybody?
I did. Well, what was the guy's name here? It seems from just this guy at least. And he calls it, in what I like
His
is
name's
also,
Bob.
what?
This guy's name is Bob.
We know this guy's
Blind
name now?
Bob, yeah.
All right, Bob. So, but what I like is this is going to sound weird, but he isn't creepy about it.
No, he's like as kind of chill about it as you can be.
chill.
I didn't get creepy vibes. It's just like, I just would like,
this is fun.
Yeah.
This is game time. That's
Yeah.
all. It's just the visually impaired part sort of adds to the empathy.
No, for sure.
But
if he was staring down the barrel of the camera and asking this dude for this, then I'd get kind of the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, fascinating. So interesting. But Bob, send us more voicemails. You can send them directly to us.
Well, he's dead.
What? Why?
He died of cancer a while ago, but we have a well of footage of him because this is kind of a lane that he's into.
Well, shit. And he's dying of
No, he's dead.
shit is the lane he's into, I understand.
Yeah.
But he's dying of,
yeah.
he looks like a chemo sort of brain, dome here a little bit. So he's dying of cancer as he's doing this stuff. So I'm extra super wanting him to get that voice message back with the right?
I have a feeling that he's gotten some people that sent him stuff because, there's other stuff that
Can you give us another, Bob? Can you please? Because it's an important lane for us to head down, I think.
I think that's all we got in this folder. We'll follow back up on the next
show.
Yeah, on the next show. But actually, this leads me to a question that I have.
Uh-oh.
How do blind people figure out what makes them come?
Well, you as a male understand that a large part of what arouses you and what's hooked into your sexual response is the visual.
Right.
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 What are you laughing at?
Me?
Yeah, you. You okay?
I just don't think I needed my eyes to figure out what made me come.
Well, that's, I think his point is exactly right, is that you'll find something else. You'll find that we have a natural proclivity to the visual. Probably that is an evolutionary thing. We're looking for health and fertility and things like that. We're literally looking for it. And that gets hooked into our, that's what we're doing.
That's interesting, though, because, okay, now you got the old brain running up here. Okay.
Yeah, take it away, Jeremiah.
Now, let's say somebody they think they're super straight. Okay?
Is this another one of your early childhood
No.
experiences you want to share with us?
No.
Okay.
Okay, hypothetical. Blind guy with a boner sitting on a couch, okay? There is a male butthole that's in front of him, and there is a female vagina, and both get put over the penis. He can't, I don't know, he maybe not have never tried either. Maybe he's a virgin.
Okay.
That would be a good litmus test, right then and there, if he's straight or gay.
No. Because gay is not about what you want to insert your penis into as much as you want to be in and around men and close to men. And you sort of have to complete the spectrum.
Okay.
You might as well just be a fleshlight then, right? And you could have number 3.
I wouldn't refer to them as that, but yeah.
But you could have number 3, a fleshlight, and see which she preferred, right? You might prefer the fleshlight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sort of technically designed better than everything else. So, but it is a really interesting thing. So I have talked to people that have regained sight, like they were involved in an accident when they were very young and they were blind their whole life. And then in recent years, they've got their sight back. It's very, sight is just another sense. And the other sense will kind of fill in terms of building a landscape of the world.
Yeah.
And when you restore sight, it's not what it doesn't restore exactly what we, the sighted, think it will do. In fact, a lot of people don't like it when they get their sight back. And they start confusing. The classic thing for me was this guy was telling me, when he first got his sight back, he was in a Costco. And there was a lot of people, and
he's like, I work at Costco? This is crazy.
No. He was a customer walking around with his wife, and he suddenly pushed his wife out of the way, said, watch out for that forklift. You got to stay out of the way. And it wasn't a forklift. It was a large woman. And his brain couldn't differentiate, and he could look at it and say, and focus on it and think, but he couldn't quite make sense of it because visual stuff has to be made sense of by the brain too.
Right.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And so
he's gay?
Back to sex is, it gets wired into our motivational systems. And evolutionary biology answers all questions. So what is it about the male that we're so visual? We're looking for the ability to reproduce effectively. So what would that be? Symmetry, fecundity, health, that kind of stuff. Good genes to pass on. Makes sense? Yeah. What's weird to me, the weirdest thing of all, though, about humans, is that the healthiest thing for us to do is to mix genes, our disparate genes, and mix them. So people from the farthest flung races should be getting together. That's the healthiest thing for a population. And yet we as humans go into tribes and don't cross. It's just, that's the worst thing we can do from a genetic health standpoint. So anyway, it's just my little PSA.
Did that answer your question?
Mix them genes.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Hold on here. Okay, Andrea. We'll have to find out which it is. So is it Andrea or Andrea?
I think it's going to be
It's Andrea.
Andrea, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Thanks for calling.
Yep. So I wanted to start by telling you, thank you, because you're the only reason I even knew about hormone replacement therapy.
Great.
And I've been having issues with my hormones since I was probably 16, honestly.
Wow.
And I had went to gynecologists, and all they did was throw birth control at me, which made me feel horrible. And we ended up having 2 kids. And after this last one, I am 4 months postpartum, and I was extremely depressed, having major issues. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to go see someone with hormone replacement therapy. And so I looked someone up, found them.
Good.
And I've been on it for like 3 weeks, and it's made a huge, huge difference in my life.
Good
like
for
mood,
you. Oh
no
my
longer
God, that's
depressed, no longer anxious, nothing.
You've made my week for many different reasons. One is that I was able to help you. That's amazing. But more that this is an example for you, can be a case that other people can learn from. And are you on all 3 hormones, progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen, or just 2?
So for right now, she has me on progesterone and testosterone because both of those were extremely low, like bottomed out low.
It is insane. Testosterone has been left out of hormone. And Andrea, you've obviously heard me talk about this. It had been left out of first. There's so many things I'm angry about when it comes to this topic. Women go through perimenopause for long periods of time, sometimes starting in their 30s. How old are you, Andrea?
I'm 30 right now.
Yeah, and particularly postpartum, particularly if you've been breastfeeding, particularly if you've had, sort of hormonal fluctuations in the past, women become miserable in their middle ages, even well before hormonal shutdown to menopause. And doctors give you antidepressants, and they give you therapy, and they tell you you're depressed, and in reality, you're not producing enough testosterone typically, and sometimes estrogen. And so you get women on the right hormones and the whole thing goes away. They feel 1,000% better. And I'd much rather have you on something that restores your normal hormones than a stupid antidepressant. So good for you, Andrea. I'm so glad you took care of your health. Took command of it.
Well, and so I had actually went to see an endocrinologist because I thought maybe she would help me. And I ended up and left there crying. And that was about this time last year when I went to go see her because she's like, you just need to go to your gynecologist and get on birth control. Like, that's the only thing we can do for you. So, and I was like, I know there's not, like, I knew I had heard you talk about hormone replacement therapy. And so I found this place, but then I ended up and somehow magically got pregnant. So after this birth, I was like, I have to go do something because I was absolutely miserable. My husband was like, we've got it. He's like, you are not in okay shape. He's like, we've got to figure something out. So I went back and I found out my hormones were just absolutely bottomed out, and it was bad. Like, I was in rough shape.
Well, it's extraordinary how well it works. And again, it's just restoring things back to normal. It's like if you had thyroid disease and we're giving you your thyroid medicine back, it's not doing something extra physiological.
So not a painful process at all?
Nothing. It's nothing. I would hope you would go back to that gynecologist and educate her a little bit. But it's not your responsibility. It's just doctors.
Believe me, I have wanted to.
Yeah, doctors don't learn unless somebody comes back to that. So it worries about ER doctors. They never get the follow-up, and I wanted to go down and talk to them more than a couple of times. All right, Andy, thanks for the call. I appreciate it very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Drew.
You betcha. Do you have any voice messages lined up? Do we have anything like that? I just want to feel like I want to include. I miss that quality that we get from the voice messages, particularly female voice messages. Andrea gave me that sort of, harder to come by.
Here you go.
All right.
Hey, Dr. Mommy. Hey, Boost Boys. Long-time listener here. First-time caller, I guess. I have a very interesting question.
Uh-oh.
I have been doing some research over the last few months about the taste of my boyfriend's seminal fluid. And it seems like whenever I'm bleeding, it tastes delicious. Like, literally tastes like strawberries and freaking cream, but only when I'm on my period. And I did some research. I can't find anything about it online. What could this be?
This whole vampire.
Well, it's really, really interesting. So I seriously doubt that anything is changing in him, right? Why would he change?
Yeah, it's got to be, I don't know. If she's on her, I'm taking a guess here, Dr. Drew. Her senses are a little bit more heightened because there's more things going on with her?
It's really kind of interesting. And I don't know that there's any systematic or sort of scientific way to describe what she's going through, except to say that we know doctors know, that women leading up to ovulation, after ovulation, and for some women in and around the menstruation, dramatic changes in their sexual drive, in their sensory sort of experiences, in their experiences around sex and receptivity. Women have a phenomenon called receptivity. You know what that is as a male?
No.
Yeah, right. And
something I should know.
Well, It's something that women don't know, men don't know, is that, we're all about drive forward.
Right.
They have this thing called, and various women experience it in different ways and different degrees, but receptivity is just the openness to things coming in, to something being received. And I think
just like literally, like physically in your body.
It's a feeling. It's a feeling of union and receptivity. It's a very powerful motivator for women that we do not have at all. We don't even know what they're talking about, really.
For the lead up, like
this makes them more likely to be.
So if the I'm not in the mood conversation is happening, the receptivity is quite low.
Correct.
Yes.
And so in and around ovulation, receptivity can go up. Right? It makes sense evolutionarily, right? From a biological standpoint.
I feel so much smarter just being in a room with you.
Well, you are. And so here, and of course I have lots of really good questions now. Here's something about big balls. But so that it's a really interesting thing. I like talking about this stuff because, well, people aren't aware of it. They don't think to discuss it with each other, right? Because we're very different biologically. And we're living in a time when we live in this delusion that everything's sociological. Yes, gender, I get it, is largely sociological, but male and female biology and the biological systems we operate in, we just call that medicine generally. It's a very complicated and specific process. It can be adulterated and changed and altered by all kinds of things, but we do need to understand the basics, and people don't. They don't think about it, and they don't think about communicating them to each other.
Would you say that that's that comes down to, as far as like relationships, like
it's a huge issue. It's a huge issue, and it's one I've been speaking to for 25 years.
Yeah. I've been with my wife for like 13 years now.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to us having good communication, like at the very end of like the day with a lot of things.
But I think the whole sort of you just need to communicate sort of aphorism is a little too just so. You have to be willing to like not win a fight, right?
Yeah.
If emotions get hot, you just got to be able to go, it's more important that I not win and that the relationship wins by us just settling this thing down. And that you really listen, and try to ask questions about the other person and their experience. And really, my wife and I have been together 40 years, and I am still learning shit. I'm a physician. That is odd.
Yeah.
That she will say things. What did she say the other day? And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I see what you're talking about. I didn't know. And when I get her in here, I'll think about it. I've got big balls. I think most men would prefer having an impressive handful of balls to having a pair of peanuts, but is there any practical value to having large balls? I have a feeling you're going to claim that big balls do not produce bigger loads. Well, that's for sure. But are there other advantages? More testosterone, greater success at producing children, just aesthetics. Men like me are proud of our testicular endowment, but I'm wondering if there's any real reason to be proud. Yeah, I can imagine. I'm just thinking from an evolutionary standpoint, again, back in the days of swords and sword fights and person-to-person combat, they could be a bit of a liability, I would think. Somebody could just disable you pretty easily. The whole point of it being outside your body is to lower the temperature, because the Sertoli cells need a different temperature to be producing the sperm and the testosterone and whatnot. So it might have some advantages, but I'm not aware of anybody that has documented that.
What about the length of the balls? Does that have anything to do with it?
I think that's the same thing. I think it's what he's really talking about, is that they're big, long ones. And often the long ones are. And as you get older, gravity does its thing to you also. And they get worse. They get more so. Let's see.
Are you speaking from personal experience?
No, I don't have those. I don't. Gentlemen, long balls, hanging balls?
I got some long ones.
You got some long ones?
Yeah.
I mean, when it's hot out.
Yeah.
Any know.
Right now, they're freezing in here.
Yeah, not me. Not my thing.
Yeah, they're tucked in.
Oh, here's a personal question. My last question of the day is from Seth. Hi, Seth.
Hey, Dr. Drew, how are you?
I'm great. What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. How are you, Mommy?
Hi, Mommy.
I'm out here in Utah.
Hey, cool. We got Daddy with us today.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Daddy.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, so my question is, do you ever just have to jerk off to get a phantom ghost load out?
So I don't have a prostate because I had prostate cancer. And so young males are very fascinated by that.
Do you ever just get...
No, I know what you're asking. I'll get to it. I get it. So this actually is kind of interesting. Thank you for this question because I've never answered this one before. So I made a big point of this email and this caller are sort of zeroing in on something I've been screaming about in the show for a long time, which is that semen is produced by the prostate gland, not by your testicles. And men have this weird sense that somehow semen is sitting in their testicles waiting to come out. Sure. No, not at all. The sperm is produced there, testosterone is produced there, the sperm kind of leaks into the semen.
Yeah. Then to the vas deferens?
Correct. Through the vas deferens into the seminal vesicles. And because I don't have a prostate, I don't produce fluids. There's no fluid. And there's an interesting phenomenon that men have, young men particularly, where you almost feel like a buildup of fluid, right? Is that what you're asking about, Seth? That kind of buildup-y feeling?
Yeah.
Exactly. You still get it, but it doesn't have that same urgency to it. You know what I mean? It's still, you still have it's your desire, after you've had a load, so to speak, you're sort of satiated, and then it takes a while and things build back up again. That definitely still happens, but it doesn't have that sense of, if this doesn't come out, I'm going to die. You don't have that same feeling. But I wonder if men my age just don't have that feeling anyway because of lower. But my testosterone levels lately, I just had them. I get them tested because it's part of my follow-up for my prostate cancer.
How often do you test?
I get a PSA. I get a PSA twice a year, and the urologist, I don't even know why he's doing it, has been testing testosterone with it, and it's fluctuated around a little bit. But lately, it's like way high, like at the top of the normal male. And so for my age, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's all about, gentlemen. It's sus. It's sus. Would that be sus?
Still not there, Chief. Still not there. But
well, Jeremiah, give everybody your plugs again. We appreciate you being here. This has been fun.
Yeah. Check out my new 1 hour special on YouTube right now. It's called Daddy. Leave some kind of comment. Let me know that you came from Dr. Drew.
That you heard him talking about, when he called the guy a bitch. That was really the highlight of the day, I think. That you're mad at him for doing that. You're not allowed to do that anymore.
I know.
No joking.
No joking. And then my series, Stand Up on the Spot, is on YouTube. I think you'll really enjoy. And Scissor Bros and Jeremiah Wonders. I got a rabbit hole of content. So.
Well, let's wrap it up the way we came in.
Oh, we're going to do some scissors?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready? You count over your head. It releases endorphins. Okay. It's actually really good for you.
Okay, I'm ready. Well, I have bad shoulders, so I'll go so high.
We'll do them lower.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Way better.
We'll do 1.
Oh, in front of the mic.
2, 3.
I'm off by a beat, but it looks more cool.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Are these 11, jumping jacks or are these
12.
Scissors?
These are scissors. 13, 14, and
you do
15,
this many scissors every
16.
time?
Oh, yeah. So 18. Well, it's usually as long as the guest will allow it. So
well, this time the host will not allow it any further. So
okay, perfect.
So good. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much for having me.
Good to meet you.
Yeah,
pleasure.
good to meet you.
And we will see you all next time. All conversations and information exchanged during participation in the Dr. Drew After Dark podcast or interaction on the drdrew.com website is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse this with treatment or physician medical advice or direction per se. You must always follow your medical professional's advice and direction. Nothing on these podcasts or posted on this site supplements or supersedes the relationship and direction of your medical caretakers. Please understand, I am not playing the role of physician in this environment per se. I'm educating. I am a licensed physician with specialty boards in American Board of Internal Medicine and American Board of Addiction Medicine.